MLR, the latest round of results. Remember, there were some teams on the bye this week, so it was kind of a smaller round, I guess, in terms of the number of games we had on. I managed to catch two of the games in full and then highlights and whatnot from the others. As always, if you guys are new to the MLR and don't have a team, check out the Rugby Network. It's a free site. You can watch the games live or on demand for free, so that's always a good thing and not something you can say about many rugby competitions. But yeah, pick a team, get behind it, and you'll probably see some players you recognise on some of the teams. The first one, ATL and New England. It was a battle of two of the teams up the top, so I did have to go and watch this one. This was a strange game in that ATL looked like they had it in the bag. And then New England just absolutely came back and put on a bunch of points, almost unanswered. Maybe 3 points for ATL. Like after they had like a 24-point scoreline, they were well in front. I mean, to be fair, ATL had the better of the starting play. They got the first try through Sitama. They made it 7-0. Matt Heaton, the flanker for ATL, had to go off with a head knock, which was obviously not ideal, but I think he stayed off for the entire game, so that's good because he was kind of hobbling around, not looking very good. And then, New England hit back on one of their first chances. I think it was Malin, the 12 to make it 7 points apiece. Line out move. ATL had some good carries. They went over from Waitoka to make it 12-7. And then New England hits back with an intercept. So I feel like ATL had the better of the play, and like an intercept one, or kind of New England's first chance, initially anyway, made it a little bit against the run of play. To be fair, though, it was 19-14 by half-time because ATL had been knocking on the door for ages. Eventually a big gap opened up. I think it was Leonard who went over for that one. So, yeah, decent half-time lead, 19-14, and made better when they get the bonus point try on 47 minutes, ATL. So they are up 24-14. And it looks like at home they should be able to push on and kind of take the game away from them. But Sitama, the early try scorer, gets a yellow card for a no-arms tackle on, I think it was Waka. And from there, things don't go very well from an ATL point of view, but things absolutely pick up from a New England point of view. They punish them straight away. Line-up move, inside ball to Barlow, makes it 21-24, so that's game on. ATL do get a penalty during that yellow card period to make it 27-21, but then New England get a penalty. Van der Bunk gets a try after a long period of pressure, and then another one. So, yeah, the scoreline really pushes out. It's not often you'll be up, 24-14 with half an hour to go and end up losing 41-27, right? Yeah, tough result for the ATL guys, but man, New England's on a heck of a run. They are on 6-1 after an early loss. They're on a very good run. So first in the East, and ATL second in the East with their 5-2 record. The next game was DC and NOLA. I didn't watch this one, but DC's winless run goes on. They are showing some signs of improvement, I think you'd have to say, but they still can't buy a win. NOLA's improvement has been the better of the two sides for sure. I mean, DC did have an early lead, 5-0, but Waldron went over for NOLA to make it 7-5. DC took the lead back 12-7, but then NOLA hit back kind of immediately again. So a bit of chopping and changing, and then by the second half, it's 24-12. I mean, DC did keep it alive when Sal went over, but I mean, NOLA sealed it, and then, DC get a consolation try at the death. But yeah, I don't know, it's like one step forward, two steps back at the moment for the DC guys. Maybe that's a bit harsh, because I do think they are making progress. They kind of looked all at sea for the first few weeks, but yeah, they were at least able to compete in this game, and they had the lead a few times. So, none from 7, 6 in the East. NOLA 3-4. Remember, were they none from 4? Was it none from 3 to start the season? So they've kind of come back pretty nicely, but they're still below 500. They're in 5th in the East. The next one, Seattle and LA. I didn't watch this one. I should mention, away teams just winning galore. 31-12 was a really good win away from home. The highlights were a bit peculiar. They didn't really show, but Seattle had a couple of disallowed tries. They didn't show what they were disallowed for. But, yeah, Hadding had one disallowed early for Seattle, and then LA not. So they went 7-0 up, 12-0 up. Then Seattle, another disallowed one before halftime. So it's 2 allowed tries for LA and 2 disallowed ones for Seattle by halftime. Tofata'i gets one. Good to see him back in American rugby, 17-0. Finally, the Seattle guys managed to get a maul try, which was actually given to make it 17-7, which is kind of game on. But then Jordan Traynor, not long later, former Auckland rugby man, he goes over for a try. So 24-7 is pretty much game over. Gets worse for Seattle because they concede a penalty try and a yellow card, although with 14 men they still managed to get a consolation. So they kept fighting, but yeah, 31-12 at home. Not a great look. They are third with 4-4. LA have got a positive record, but they are fifth at 4-3. So yeah, 2 sides who are kind of middling, and that is reflected in their records. Utah and Houston, I did watch this one. I didn't know the result, which was pretty pleasing. And it was also a game which kind of went back and forward a bit. I mean, Houston away from home do get the job done 28-12. So Utah's record is looking kind of on the poor side at the moment. Like I mentioned, the start was pretty back and forth, but Houston were the first side to get a score and the second. The Fords, I mean, there was a pretty nice offload for the first one, but then it was the Fords who got the second one, so 14-0. And then Houston, though, did give away a yellow card when they had too many penalties under a bit of pressure. And, yeah, the Utah guys just couldn't score. It was pretty frustrating. They needed to take that opportunity when Houston's a man down to go ahead, or at least get themselves on the board. But they couldn't. Houston took a shot at goal while they were a man down, but they missed it, but it didn't matter because that's a good bit of time killing. Anyway, my note says Utah just can't convert anything, and yeah, that was kind of frustrating, especially when Billy Brits goes over for one, when Houston finally go down the other end and they just score pretty much immediately. Even he looked a little bit surprised, but man, 21-0, good lead. Good to see Lasike back in American rugby though as well, and he gets a try in this one. They get one through the maul, and then Lasike gets one to at least make it 21-12. It was a pretty nice maul from Utah because it looked like they were going to set for the maul, but then they passed it out to Lasike, who just kind of barnstorming run over. It was really pleasing. But yeah, Utah threw an intercept towards the death, and that gave the bonus point to Houston. So yeah, they finished 28-12. They'll be certainly happy with that. Decent start to the season for this new look Houston side, 4-3. Utah 2-5. They're looking a wee bit away from that team which made the playoffs last year. And the last one, New York and Toronto. I've only seen the highlights of this one. This one seems to have been an absolute cracker. And Toronto are looking the business, man, away from home. 14-10 against New York, who's been one of the better sides. So there was only one score, I think, in the first half, with New York getting a maul try, 5-0. And then Toronto got a yellow card for a man in the air, tackling a man in the air towards the end of the first half, and that continued on to the second half. But during that yellow card, Toronto actually managed to score. I think it was Sheridan pouncing on some loose ball. So 7-5 to Toronto. And then Toronto got another yellow card. Yeah, this time New York were actually able to convert with Fido, I think, showing a bit of power. He's been one of the form wingers of the competition. So 10-7. Looks like maybe New York at home. But Toronto go through some phases, a lot of them, for a good couple of minutes. And they actually break the Quattrin goes over to make it 14-10. And that's all she wrote. So yeah, 4-3. Fourth in the East. It's a positive record for the Arrows. And New York 5-2. So they're still good enough for third. So yeah, there's been a bit of chopping and changing. It's been an interesting round. But yeah, we'll see how things go in the next one. As I said, there's been a few teams on the bye. But yeah, certainly some pretty entertaining action. If you did watch the Seattle game, you'll have to let me know what the deal was with those disallowed tries. That was kind of curious. I mentioned DC is still winless, but some early signs, or late maybe, that they're starting to improve. But at the moment, the form team is absolutely the Freejacks. They are coming really, really good. The fact they went into Atlanta and got that win, and especially after being under the pump in the first half, really encouraging. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on the games, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.